In this film, if you're a virgin, you're the one that's going to die. Let's get into it. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about 2000's Cherry Falls. Yes, this movie is rated R. Well, the version you can get on digital or Blu-ray. It's an hour and 32 minutes long, and it had a budget, $14 million budget. Now, when this movie came out back in 2000, it was shown on USA Network. And the reason being was they had a hard time with the MPAA getting an R rating because of graphic violence and a lot of nudity at the time. So instead of battling with the MPAA, they just released it straight from the USA Network. Now in Europe it did get a theatrical release, but here it never has received a theatrical release. I had the Blu-ray from Scream Factory, did a really nice job. There's a great documentary on there that basically goes into some of the problems behind the scenes and with the MPAA. This movie originally had a lot more graphic violence. Even the R-rated version is toned down compared to there's an unrated version that has never seen the light of day. Scream Factory tried to get the rights to that to show it, but they couldn't get that cut of the film. So the only way you can watch it really is the rated R version. Now, to direct this film, they brought in an Australian director, Wright. I've never seen any other one of his films. This is his only American film credit he's ever done. The rest are Australian films. We got a pretty good cast here, though. We got Brittany Murphy as Jody. She goes to high school in this town. Michael Biehn is in this film, the great Michael Biehn as Sheriff Brent, as Jody's father. Jay Moore is in this film as Leonard Marlston. He's a teacher at the high school. And Jesse Bradford makes an early film role. He's only in the beginning of the film. He's only in it for a couple minutes, but he is in the film. And basically this film takes place in a small town in Virginia, and they actually shot in Virginia as well. And right in the beginning of the film, starts off standard slasher film scene. This girl and this guy are parked by the river, and they're making out, and his car pulls up behind him, and things go awry really fast, and both kids end up getting killed by this mysterious killer. We're introduced to our lead here, Jody, played by Brittany Murphy, and her father, Michael Biehn, and her mom, and we get, her going to school and all that, and some of these kids are goth-like, if you have all the spectrum of what you expect in a high school film, especially around this time in 2000. And little by little, Jody has a boyfriend who wants to have, sex, and she's not down with that because she made her promise to her dad. This movie definitely has sexual overtones throughout the whole film because it's about losing your virginity. And basically what happens is this killer's picking kids off, and he's only killing virgins, which is, it definitely flips the switch on what normally a slasher film is. Usually the repressed virgin is the one that survives and kills the killer at the end of the film. But in this film, the killer is after virgins. How this killer can confirm that, who knows? It's never explained. But there's a lot of sexual tension throughout this film. And basically, the sheriff begins to realize that this might be somebody who he has had contact with in the past when he was in high school. And there's a whole backstory with the sheriff. If you've never seen it, I don't want to give it away because there's some twists and turns in this film. But there's a secret with this town that took place when the sheriff was a senior in high school, and the principal of the high school were friends back then. And they had an encounter one night with this girl, Laura Lee Sherman, who was kind of an outcast of the school. And I don't want to get into that a little bit. There's a lot of sleazy aspect of this that happens between these men and this woman one night towards the end of their school year. And they think she's back to take revenge because basically they sexually assaulted her. And they think she's back to take revenge. After all the clues and the sketch that his daughter gives her sketch artist, when he sees it, he realizes, oh crap, it might be Laura Lee Sherman. So he goes out to West Virginia where her last known address was, and she's not there. It's like this abandoned house. And anyway, the kids at the high school, fast forward a little bit, because I don't want to give everything away if you've never seen this film. This is a very underseen film, honestly. It never got a proper release besides TV and then a DVD, and now there's a Blu-ray out there. But the kids, their way around not getting killed, because all the kids are in a panic, is to have a lose your virginity party at this lodge, this abandoned lodge out in the woods. So basically by the time we find out who our killer is, and I'm not going to give that away, Jody and her ex-boyfriend, who now is in the picture, he saves her from peril because this killer was going to kill her. And they take off for where the cops are because the cops are protecting this party. And the killer shows up, and we have our final confrontation at this lodge. And at the end of the film, the killer gets thrown out a window, lands on a picket fence, and gets killed that way. And we have a semi-happy ending because we do lose some characters along the way. Obviously, this is a slasher film, so obviously you're going to lose some characters along the way. I know I didn't give a whole lot away there because if you've never seen it, I know a lot of people have never seen this film. I bring it up sometimes and people are like, what the hell is that? I'm like, it's a movie that came out in 2000. So if you've never seen it, I don't want to spoil anything for you. It's definitely worth checking out. There is some gory moments, definitely in an R-rated cut. I know there's, like I said again, there's an unrated cut with more gore and more nudity. I don't know if we'll ever see that cut. I know they had a hard time tracking it down. Supposedly it's out there, but they don't have the rights for it. So who knows what's going to happen if we'll ever see that version of this film. I'd be interested to see it, see what they originally intended. Is this film any good? It's okay. It's an okay slasher film. Watching it again, it's okay. It's not the greatest. The directing's okay. The acting's decent because you got some really good actors in there. There's some good gore moments. There's good, the mystery of who the killer is. It's a surprise the first time you watch it who ends up being the killer. Because they do throw some red herrings in there, and who ends up being is kind of a surprise. It's definitely worth your watch, especially if you're a slasher fan. Because around the 2000s, the slasher genre was starting to peter out. The Scream had come, and then we had the sequel, Scream 2, Scream 3, and we had, I know you did last summer, I still know you did last summer, Urban Legend 1 and 2, and it was starting to peter out a little bit. They were still making them, but they were definitely making less and less money. But if you get a chance to check this out, Cherry Falls, give it a shot. It's not bad. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. It's a decent little film with some good acting. It's always good to see Michael Biehn in a movie. But the directing is okay. The story doesn't make a whole lot of sense at times, but it's okay. It's a decent little slasher film. I would recommend it if you've never seen it and you're a big fan of slasher films. 6 out of 10 for me for Cherry Falls. Have you ever seen this film? If you have, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this one. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. You all stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll be back next week. I think I'm going to do the Dark Castle remakes. I think I'm going to do House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts, and Ghost Ship right in a row. We'll see how that goes, but have a great weekend. I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.